Welcome back to Silverstone for the final time this weekend in the GB3 Championship. I am Jon Jackson, Piers Pryor, former British F3. Give it its full title. Go on.
BRDC British Formula 3.
Yeah, it's GB3 now, that's all we need to know. And Piers was a winner at Alton Park in the reverse grid race, and that's what we bring you now here at Silverstone. Piers, just briefly explain the reverse grid race and why it's a reverse grid race.
Well, it's a bit different to when I did it, John. It's now.
Are you saying it's easier now? And when you won it, it was much harder. And such a huge achievement. Yeah.
No. But basically, it's now a top 12 reverse grid. So qualifying, if you qualify 12th, you're now on pole, and if you qualify pole, you're now 12th.
It's simple as that. Look at that. Explained it really, really well. Nikita Johnson will start on pole position with the VRD by Arden team, and we saw what he could do last time out at the Hungaroring. Zandvoort. There we go, we'll get there eventually. Winning the race, we heard from his dad as well, huge character, Mr. Johnson. And he's been over the States, he's been over to the UK, he's kind of mixing it up so much, and having that success, it's really propelled him. And your money would be on him if he gets a good start, probably going for a race victory here as well.
Yeah, VRD by Arden have been very, very quick this weekend. We've mentioned it a couple of times in the other shows so far, but very quick on Thursday, pretty quick on Friday. Didn't quite convert that into qualifying pace on Saturday morning, but strong pace in race 1 and 2, and now a good chance for a double strong result with both Sean and Nikita, who are starting first and third respectively. No, third and first respectively.
Yeah, we're going to hear from some of the other drivers earlier on as well, and we're going to get the highlights from race 2 in just a second. But Sean Rashid is another driver that seems to be very good at getting himself high up in these races here. And actually in the second race of the weekend, the first race today, he got his best ever finish, I think, 7th. Earlier on, and Sean Rashid is someone that's in his second year, very famously got a GB3 car out there to the United States last year so he could practice, which was amazing, and really starting to see that he's getting to the grips with it.
Absolutely, he's been making probably the driver that's made the most progress, I'd say, since the start of last year, in fact even since the start of this year. I think we've mentioned it a few times, by his own standards last year was a tough year. We've spoken to him on a couple of occasions. He said he really struggled last year. He wasn't driving the best, situation wasn't the best for him. Changed team, bit of a change of outlook, and he's really coming on strong, qualifying in with his teamates, getting inside the top 10 on not just reverse grid races and really proving it, and he's got a good opportunity at a podium in this one.
Yeah, and it's a really cool sort of American team there with Arden supporting VRD racing here in the United Kingdom, and they've got Noah Ping there as well, and we've got Ava Dobson on their team now making her debut in GB4, so nice to see them doing well. As I mentioned we'll hear from some drivers in just a second, but first of all, let's recap what happened in race 2 earlier today.
Highlights from the second race of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC at the Silverstone weekend. And it was a good start from Mackenzie Cresswell, but it was a better one from Louis Sharp, who would lead down into the first corner, allowing the side-by-side to take them through the first turn. Louis Sharp would then lead from Mackenzie Cresswell and John Bennett. Out wide would go Timothy Kuharczyk, who was going side-by-side with Jared Oberski, who was trying to battle for 4th position. Meanwhile, it was side-by-side for the race lead. Mackenzie Cresswell was trying to hold firm, with Louis Sharp just trying to hang on to the race lead. It was the outside line for the final part of Maggotts, Beckers and Chapel, and it was Mackenzie Cresswell up to the front. Louis Sharp would give it a look coming down at the end of the hangar straight into Stowe, as John Bennett was also trying to find his way into the mix. But Mackenzie Cresswell would hang on to the race lead and would keep Louis Sharp in his mirrors. As they'd work their way down into the Vale chicane, it was all the battling behind as Timothy Kuharczyk was losing out to Uga Ugachukwu as well, who was trying to find his way up inside the top 4, almost passing Jared Oberski as they'd head back out onto the Hamilton straight. A little bit further down, and Colin Queen was having a bit of a moment with Sebastian Murray straight around the outside at Stowe with a big move. The Chris Titman racing car was able to sneak his way past, but did exceed track limits in doing so. Meanwhile, Will McIntyre was working his way up from the rear of the field. A little bit of contact there with Flynn Jackson. They worked their way through Abbey, as Will McIntyre was moving his way up from 23rd to 18th. Some big moves as well. He was still trying to find his way past. Getting past the Fortec driver there of Ed Pearson. Meanwhile, some battling with Aditya Kulkarni and a couple of the Chris Titman racing cars. Big moment there from Flynn Jacks as he would open the door for a potential pass. Colin Queen would make contact as well, and it was Queen into the gravel and out of the race, unfortunately, for the Fortec driver. Meanwhile, at the front, it was Mackenzie Cresswell taking a second victory in the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC over Louis Sharp and John Bennett.
Thank you very much to Lewis McGlade for the commentary there of the highlights of race 2. We're going to hear from another driver now, Piers, and it's a driver that's been involved in race 2, was involved in a little bit of contact, Flynn Jacks.
Yeah, Flynn Jacks was well inside the battle. There was a nice battle that we saw for the back end of the field that went on pretty much all race long. mostly clean, but just a little bit of contact between himself and Colin Queen.
Well, it was a very eventful race for the Chris Dittman Racing driver, and Naomi caught up with him earlier.
So, Flynn, obviously we saw a few incidents out there. What was it like for you in the car?
In the car, it was quite oversteered for us. We've had quite a tough weekend. We found a issue on Friday night, essentially meaning we had to restart from quali onwards. So we've been trying to refine our setups throughout the races. So race 1 we had understeer, and we made too far of a step this race, and now we have oversteer. So yeah, struggle with that.
And so what will your plan be now for the reverse grid?
For the reverse grid, we're going to go back a bit. I'd rather have a bit of an understeer than oversteer going into the race. But yeah, that's the plan.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Flynn.
Flynn Jacks there speaking with Naomi earlier on. Now, it's been a great weekend, and I know we keep mentioning the South African driver, Jared Roberski, but I really feel he has put things together again with another good result.
No doubt, a podium on race 1 this weekend, and ever so nearly a podium in race 2, 4th place. We spoke about him yesterday, but he's really coming on strong. Mackenzie Cresswell, of course, leading the way in that team this weekend, but Jared Roberski is actually the quickest of the 3 elite drivers in a lot of the test sessions. Mackenzie just pulled it out of the bag in qualifying, but still a great weekend for Jared.
And of course we followed Jared from GB4 with KMR Sport. He then moved to Fortec last season in GB3, and he's now with Elite Motorsports this season in GB3, and things are really coming together. He also spoke with Naomi earlier.
Jared, a really solid race for you out there. How's that?
Yeah, P4 overall, I think in that race was pretty good. Pace was really good. Obviously, Mackenzie had good pace out front. As soon as I closed up to Jon in P3, I kind of got stuck. As you know, the dirty air is quite strong in these cars. So, but at least we know the pace in the car is really good. So I'm looking forward to making some more places in the reverse grid later on.
And a lot more wheel-to-wheel action over here on British soil. What was that like in such an iconic track?
Yeah, obviously to be back in the UK. The weather's quite nice, which is surprising normally. So, and back in Silverstone, one of my favourite tracks. So yeah, it's good to be back, and yeah, looking to finish off strong.
And for the reverse race, what is your plan?
So obviously move forward. We have, it's based on reverse grid, so technically it should be faster than everyone in front. Obviously the tyres now have been through quite a lot, so we have to play in a part of, tyre dig throughout the race. So I think in the last 5-10 minutes of the race, it will definitely play a big part in the reverse grid.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Jared.
Diolch, Naomi. Speaking there with Jared Roberski. She's Welsh, a bit of Welsh. Why not? Throw it in. Piers is not impressed by that at all. Now we've heard from drivers, we've heard from families. We spoke with and GB4. We spoke with Lucas Blakely's dad. It was very nice to see that sort of magical family moment. We also thank the sponsors, and we thank the people who are involved. John Cavill, who always sponsors the fastest pole position, the John Cavill Pole Position Cup, which is provided by Jack Cavill, his son. It's very much been involved with Jonathan Palmer for many years. And we thank everyone that supports the championship. Watches. Do you like watches?
I actually don't tend to wear a watch.
I've got a trusty old battered one here, right? But there's a man I met earlier on from you can say it, I can't say it. Omologato. There we go. Omologato watches, who sponsor.
The Omologato One to Watch Award.
The One to Watch Award.
Yeah, which is the driver that scores the most points in race 1 and race 2.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the watches haven't been ready until now.
Yeah, well, there you go. And actually, there was a presentation earlier, and I caught up with the man behind everything. Well, I'm now with the main man, Shami Kaura, and you've told me just before we started this that you're a massive racing fan. Favourite driver of all time?
I've met him a few times, and I'm pretty proud to call him somebody I know, Mika Hakkinen. I remember being here, we're in Silverstone today, I remember being here in 2000 when he won, when he beat Michael Schumacher. What an amazing day. And then there was obviously the overtake at Spa, I think that was 2002. So yeah, Mika Hakkinen's my all-time hero. I absolutely loved watching him race.
He's a very cool customer, and I can tell you're a very cool customer as well because of the watch we can see behind us, and we've hopefully already seen footage of some of the young drivers receiving their watches. What got you into the watch business? I know that watches and timepieces have been very much ingrained in motorsports for years.
Yes, so I started when I was 23, a few years ago. I started working, I started doing work for other brands. So for instance, when Audi won at Le Mans, they'd phone us up on a Monday and say, can you make a watch? And back in 1993, so not 2003, 1993, I actually didn't know how to make a watch back then. But because I was young and I was willing to learn and all the rest of it, I made my first watch in 93. And then other sports car teams and racing teams started realizing, hold on a second, this is quite a nice memento to give to a team, that sort of thing. So I did that for about 25 years. I did enjoy it, but then I started my own brand about 10 years ago, and I haven't looked back.
think it's amazing as well that, you know, drivers can win trophies, but actually when you're giving them something that's very personal, they can actually enjoy it on a day-to-day basis rather than just looking at it, you know, on a mantelpiece. They can look at it the whole time.
So this year I sponsored the Grand Prix of Long Beach in America, the IndyCar and IMSA race. And a good friend of mine, Scott Dixon, won the race, which was wonderful to be able to do. But what I also did was I made him a one-off winner of the Grand Prix of Long Beach. And Scott can afford a lot of things because he's a winner and he's an achiever. And he loves watches, but he wears that Grand Prix because it signifies that he won that race. You can't carry this lovely big trophy around to Costa on a Sunday morning, right? So it's nice to have something to relate to your success. And this watch here that you can see behind us, it says clearly on there, not for sale, and it isn't for sale. You have to achieve it, you have to win it, you have to have done something. So you can't come to our website and say, can I have that watch? Because actually, like it says on there, it's not for sale.
I love that. It makes it even more extra special. Shami, thank you for chatting to me and enjoy the racing today.
Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. Cheers. Thank you.
And as we can see there on Piers' wrist, there is no watch because, as he was just saying there, you have to earn the watches.
You can't buy them.
And the thing is, that you haven't earned one because you'd be the first to admit that, you know, these kids have got, you know, talent and... I'm joking. It's fine. There we go. Great to catch up with one of the sponsors of the championship. Great for him to get involved there. Some great stories. I sense that he's got a lot more stories, you know, just casually dropping in names like Mika Hakkinen there. And, yeah, I think we'll maybe speak with him again.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
We're now in the assembly area, as you can see behind us, and we have a couple of cars here that are, you know, very, very distinctive, and we've spoken about it quite a lot. But let's get a close-up, Ben. Let's come closer. This is Patrick Hoitzenroeder, the Australian driver in the Miami blue car that we saw for the first time last time at Zandvoort. Still looking quite nice. It's obviously like a wrap there. We've seen a little bit of damage there. We've seen a few stones maybe flicked up.
That's just a few marbles, but it's all part of the, you know, going racing, is that their cars are going fast, so sometimes they get flicked up. But it is a cool looking car and great to see some different liveries on the grid. Elite Motorsport actually this year have changed their livery ever so slightly from last year, going bright yellow as well, which makes it easier for us to pick them out. Hopefully we see some more, you know, big sponsored cars out going, because of course motor racing takes money to get going, and the drivers get some sponsorship, then they can race more often and for longer in their career.
There's very much an elephant in this setup area. Where's our pole sitter?
It's on the grid. Oh, actually, yeah, that's a good point.
That's a very good question. Hey, I mean, if someone would like to research that and tell me why Nikita Johnson's not at the front of the grid, whether or not something has happened, there's been a change or whatever, because we currently have Arthur Rojon in the Roden car at the front of the grid, so not entirely sure what's going on there. I tell you what, let's hear from someone involved at the Roden setup while we work out what's going on, because earlier on you went and caught up with an old friend of yours that you spoke to earlier in the season, and I'm not sure we ever actually had him on screen, but given that Callum Voisin, the GB3 reigning champion, has progressed to FIA F3 and he's gone on, and you know what, he's made steady progress. I watched him out in Australia at Albert Park there, and a little bit further back with Joseph Loke, who also is a familiar name to this championship, and Callum Voisin's slowly been making progress, and both of them have been making progress. And finally, after getting pole position earlier on at Spa, Callum Voisin took his first ever feature race win in the FIA F3 Championship. And you found someone that's involved in Roden, didn't you?
Yes, Jimmy Goodwin, who is Callum's race engineer last year, but was also engineered a lot of the successful drivers in Roden and what was Carlin back in the day. And it's great to catch up with him.
Excellent stuff. Well, let's hear from Jimmy.
We're down here at the Roden garage, and actually we're not here on strictly GB3 duty this time. I've got Jimmy. Jimmy, we chatted to you earlier on in the year. Unfortunately, we didn't get to show it because it was the race that was rained off. Yeah. But you were working very closely, the race engineer for Callum Voisin last year in the GB3 Championship. And Callum, of course, won last year. That was great, a great year. Just talk about that year, just very briefly. It must have been good feeling.
Yeah, it was really good, because he'd done a year in Ginetta, which was his first year of first year of racing, full stop. And then he did 2 years with us in GB3, so it was his first single-seater experience. And yeah, it was just great to work with such a cool young guy, and you know, work along and just, you know, potter along and get quicker and quicker and quicker, and yeah, ultimately won the championship in his second year.
Yeah, it was a great year last year, of course, finished off really strong, and it's a nice guy, and he's moved on to bigger things with Roden Motorsport still in F3. And those of you, some of you may know, because this is going out on Sunday afternoon, Callum won his first Formula 3 race at Spa-Francorchamps. He took victory on the road here at Silverstone a couple of months ago, but unfortunately it was snatched away from him. But it must be great to see drivers that you work with go on to do big things.
Oh, it's fantastic. To see people progress and watch them, be part of their journey is fantastic. It really is. Gives you a great sense of achievement. Watching them move on. Yeah.
And we touched on in the interview we did earlier on the year, which maybe we'll get to see at another point. You've worked on quite a few, worked with quite a few champions in GB3. We reckon you might be the most successful man in the paddock.
Well, I don't know about that. That's not really my, that's not really for me to say.
Remind us who you've worked with in the past.
So with the successful, very successful. So Clement Novalak, obviously Callum. But we pool our resources very much as a team. So we all have a little bit of input with all the drivers we run. And we ran Zach O'Sullivan, which won the championship with him. Nikolai Kiergaard, who finished second, which is also very good as well. We really love this championship. It's really cool, and it's nice to be working because so many of our contemporaries we worked with British F3 before, previous to that in the paddock. It's just a cool place to be, really.
And it clearly breeds some very quick racing drivers with, of course, Zach O'Sullivan finishing second in F3 and then moving on to F2 and doing well there. We've had Luke Browning, who's very strong this season, right in the championship hunt. Of course, he raced with your, arch nemesis in high tech. We won't talk about them. And then, of course, Callum, who I'm hoping or assuming he'll go on to do a second season, I assume, with you guys and hopefully go for the championship next year.
Well, let's hope so. Yeah, it's really good to see him doing well, and he's a lovely lad. He's really cool.
Yeah, and of course he'll be doing for the second championship. Are you going to be back in the paddock? Do you get to see Callum maybe in the factory still sometimes?
Oh yeah. He still pops in, says hello. No, it's nice. We still chat. I mean, we WhatsApp each other after sessions and stuff like that. Congratulate him on his recent performances. He's had a tremendous upturn in his performance the last few rounds. Consistently scoring points. So it's really cool to see. It's nice because it takes a little while to settle in.
Very different cars.
It's a big, it's a big difference from this car, really. But lots of new skills to work with. But and I know he's an engineer very well, and he's a cool guy as well that he works with currently. And it's just nice to see them progress.
Brilliant. Jimmy, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to chat to us and talk all things Roden, but also great to see some of the drivers in this championship going on to bigger and better things. And maybe, who knows, we'll see them in Formula One in the future.
Good to hear from Jimmy there. Seems like a nice bloke. Thank you for that, Piers. So big shout out to Callum Boyson. The first win of many, I would imagine, on the international scene. The cars are just fired up behind us. We've heard the whistle. We've got Patrick Hudson-Reuter on pole position. What actually happened there was originally he was 12th, and there was an amended qualification result, which would have shown up earlier on for us that he wasn't on pole position, but now he is on pole position. But
Nikita Johnson.
Yeah, Nikita Johnson is actually down in 13th, so he just missed out, which is very unlucky for him actually, because it's a huge drop to take there, similar to what Max Verstappen had to take today at Spa. So the Patrick Hudson-Reuter is on pole position, the most iconic car that you can't miss, as it's the Miami blue car that's coming out next to us here. And we have Arthur Rojon for Roden starting second, with Sean Rashid third, his teammate Noah Ping in fourth, with Hugo Schwarzer starting fifth. It's the final race of the GB3 Championship here at Silverstone this weekend, the reverse grid race. Let's go racing for one last time.
And so it really feels like we're getting ready to head into the final leg of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC this season. Of course, the Alton Park, Silverstone, then European road trip, of course, to Spa, Hungaroring and Zandvoort, before returning here to Silverstone. 2 races complete, 1 left to go here on the Silverstone weekend before we have 3 races, of course, at Donington Park and 3 races at Brands Hatch. The drama that we've already had this weekend at Donington Park, Silverstone, has really kind of built up this championship. We've got 54 points separating the top 5 in the championship. It is building up to quite the crescendo. Louis Sharp leading the championship, John Bennett, Timothy Harjic, Will McIntyre and Mackenzie Cresswell 5 drivers that are battling for the title. This is the circuit they're doing battle on, though, this weekend. Of course, we know it, we love it. It's the home of British motorsport. It is, of course, the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. Starting on the National Straight, heading down through Copse, Magnus, Beckers and Chapel, into Stowe, of course, out through Vale and Club, towards the Village Loop section, out through Aintree, then towards Luffield and Brooklands, out towards the start-finish straight. 18 turns, great overtaking opportunities, very little undulation. The clouds have come out a little bit more this afternoon. It's potentially cooled down ever so slightly, certainly feels it in the air. I'm sure the track temperature, though, is pretty high. The formation lap begins then for the final race of this weekend, as we look forward to what could be quite a thriller. It'll be Patrick Huizenrode, who was supposed to start, by the way, from the reverse grid pole in Silverstone the last time we were here, right at the start of the season. But of course, that race was the one that ended up being cancelled courtesy of some really awful weather. Thankfully, we don't have to deal with that this weekend, and he'll be able to start from the reverse grid pole this time by. Of course, it's the top 12 from qualifying that have been reversed around. So you take everyone's fastest laps in qualifying, you take the top 12, and you reverse the order around. We'll take a look at the starting grid, of course, for this race, which will see Huizenrode and Arthur Rojon, of course, starting first and second. Can Patrick Huizenrode maybe take his first victory? Can Arthur Rojon sneak something special in all of this? Behind that, it'll be Sean Rashid, who's had a great weekend, at least pace-wise. Noah Ping will be starting from 4th position on the back of the second row of the grid. Then back to row number 3, where we'll have Hugo Schwarzer and Hugo Ugachukwu. Of course, he'll be desperate to go and get some decent results. He sits there up in the top 10 of the championship. Timothy Kuharczyk dropping back from the championship lead, but starting the highest of the lot of them. Jared Alberski in 8th position alongside him. Then we'll get to John Bennett in 9th position, with Gerard Shee starting from just about inside the top 10, of course. And then the next one is the front row. It's what it's been for the first 2 races this weekend. It's Louis Sharp and Mackenzie Cresswell, who sits 54 points off the championship lead. Nikita Johnson will start from 13th position alongside Sebastian Murray in 14th on row number 7. And then we get to row 8, where it's Colin Queen and Ed Pearson making it all 4 tech. We've seen their progress, although they did have a couple of struggles in the previous race. James Wharton will start from 17th, with Will McIntyre, a driver desperate for progress, as he's just about potentially going to drop another position in the championship. Currently sits in 4th position. Josh Erfan in a 19th spot, then Aditya Kulkarni in 20th. The final 2 rows of the grid we'll see a grid drop, of course, because we do have the issue. Jacob Douglas will start from 21st, and Marcus Lucio will start from 22nd, because Flynn Jacks has been dropped a single position off the penultimate row of the grid onto the final one and into 23rd. Lewis McGlade, Piers in the commentary booth, ready for the action this afternoon. Again, it's been interesting. We've got I still maintain, I think it's 5 drivers in the championship. 54 points separate the top 5, with 7 races left to go. I think that's a 5-car battle.
We love a 5-car battle for the championship win, Lewis, and yeah, all mathematically within with a shout. Again, of course, the driver in 5th, who's 54 points down, would need some bad luck for quite a lot of the drivers ahead. But stranger things have happened. We've had drivers who have taken the lead of the championship and then lost it a number of times this season, and Will McIntyre was looking in a good position until qualifying doesn't go so badly. It didn't go so well for him. So who knows what could happen? But we've had excellent first lap racing in both GB3 races this weekend so far, especially for the lead. And I'm expecting very much of the same in the reverse grid race, because normally the reverse grid race brings out the best racing of the weekend. Yeah, indeed. Like I say, you've got to dig deep. This is a slightly longer race than normal. We extend the count up to 25 minutes of racing, however many laps that might be. I think it's 12 laps of racing around here. So it's slightly longer than the race that we've just had. The top 5 in the championship is Louis Sharp on 323, John Bennett on 314, Timothy Kuharczyk on 304, Will McIntyre on 276. He's 47 points off the championship lead, and Mackenzie Cresswell on 269, although I do think that Mackenzie Cresswell might be able to overtake Will McIntyre in the championship. That said, Will McIntyre, do remember in this race, it's 20 points for the victory, but you gain a point for every position gained, and Will McIntyre has more positions to gain in this race, up to, of course, 15. I can see you're getting that microphone ready to correct me on that one. Of course, the lights will come on, though, and we'll get ready to go racing one final time here at Silverstone in 2024. Let's see who's going to come out on top here in GB3. We race our way down towards the first corner. Let's see what the start
looks like from the inside there of Arthur Rojon as he drags himself alongside Patrick Huytenroder at the first corner. Huytenroder is getting hung out to dry. Arthur Rojon will sneak his way through. That has happened for the Roden on the front row every single time this weekend. Of course, it's been Louis Sharp in 1 and 2, and this time it is Arthur Rojon up to the race lead from Huytenroder and the likes behind.
Yeah, a good start from Rojon getting past Huytenroder, but Huytenroder's not quite done there. Close fighting between the two Arden VRDs, and then this is our battle for the championship as that Cresswell goes wide.
Yeah, that was Cresswell getting squeezed by Louis Sharp, had Gerard Shee and all that. John Bennett's eyes forward, he's got past Wilburski already. Defensive line coming in the foreground of shot, the Miami blue there of Patrick Huytenroder trying to keep Sean Rashid at bay as Adichie Kulkarni has gone for a spin.
Yeah, it looks like there might have been contact there as well, as his right front tyre and right front end plate has got tyre marks on it. No one else has stopped on circuit, so
that's Ugachukwu.
I thought that was going to be. I thought that was going to be our championship leader, Sharp. But no, Ugachukwu's got right rear suspension damage. We didn't see how that happened. He will not be able to continue this race.
No, he'll be out. There's one also going out wide there in the background. I think that might be Gerard Shee trying to squeeze his way past the bright yellow of Jared Wilburski with the blue highlights on his car as they disappear down into the village loop section there. Sebastian Murray, safety car has been deployed in this race to rescue Adichie Kulkarni's car, so he was unable to get that car refired. Does mean that for the race lead, things will be looking a little bit calmer for Arthur Rojon.
Yeah, Arthur Rojon will be a little bit happy about that. Although saying that, he had started to pull a fairly small gap on Huytenroder, and actually Huytenroder's lost a position.
He's down to third.
Yes. When do we see that happen? I don't think we did.
Well,
so anyway, Sean Rashid is up to second place.
Indeed, which we'll get the order to you once they've crossed the line, so we can bring you what exactly is happening in this order. But of course, we do know that it is indeed the race lead for Arthur Rojon. Looking strong in this race, as the Rodens have done. But again, the time is ticking down, the laps are ticking down, and he's not feeling any pressure in doing so. He's not going to race his way up to the back of the safety car or race his way round with it, as the safety car there has been has picked up the rest of the field. So it will, of course, be Arthur Rojon leading this race from Sean Rashid and from Patrick Huytenroder. Of course, it's a really solid position to be in, obviously at the front of the field, but it doesn't mean that the safety car restart is going to go your way, does it?
No, of course. It's one thing being at the front of the field, it's another thing controlling the safety car restart, and something that these drivers have to get used to if they they're going to be racing in the future, of course, and racing for the win. You have to be able to control a safety car restart, try and reduce the opportunity from the cars behind to get past. We've got some drivers in the pits for servicing. Number 3 is Noah Ping. That is number 41 of James Wharton.
Josh Erfan, Ugachukwu.
Wow, there's a lot of drivers in the pits, so maybe there was some contact that we didn't quite see. Oh, is that an unsafe? I don't know if unsafe relief penalties exist, but if they do, then that should probably be one. Yikes, that was close.
It's probably somewhere in the rule book.
Yeah, we don't want contact in the pit lane, and luckily we didn't get it. But Arthur Rojon controlling this race. Sean Rashid, I must say, been very impressive. His strongest weekend so far, I'd say, consistency-wise. He was 10th in the first qualifying session, started 9th in the second race. On track, if everything finished as it is, which I'm sure it won't, but for a second place would be his first podium in the GB3 Championship, and also his best result by quite some margin.
Well, that would generally be your best result if you got your first ever podium. That is absolutely right. No, it's fine. No, don't worry.
By quite some margin.
It's fine. Don't worry. Arthur Rojon leads the race from Sean Rashid, Patrick Huytenroder, Hugo Schwarzer, and Noah Ping. I just like throwing you under the bus, mate. Don't worry about it. I've learned for the best. Timothy Kuharczyk there in 6th position with John Bennett in 7th, Jared Wilburski in 8th, Gerard Shee in 9th, Louis Sharp in 10th position with Nikita Johnson and Mackenzie Cresswell in 11th and 12th. So Cresswell's not made any progress from the 12th position despite his other rivals in the championship doing so. Wharton there in 13th, McIntyre already up to 14th position. That's a very good start. Colin Queen then in 15th position with Douglas in 16th, 17th is Flynn Jack, Sebastian Murray in 18th, Marcus Lucio in 19th, then Erfan Pearson, Ugachukwu, and of course the retirement from Kulkarni. That is your order, as I think the safety car is coming into the pit lane.
Yeah, safety car lights will go out almost immediately, and the drivers will have a note from their teams almost immediately over the radios, which they now have a new addition for 2024, pits to car radios. So they'll be saying, right, safety car lights are probably going to go out this lap. There they go out, so the drivers will start to back up behind Arthur Rojon. You can see Arthur Rojon immediately slows down, because the more space Rojon can give to the safety car, basically the more options he has for when he can go and put the hammer down and try and get a gap from Sean Rashid. And you'll see that Rojon's weaving just to try and mask when he's going to go. I imagine he'll go somewhere in the middle or the exit of Luffield. In fact, he's gone. Oh no, I thought he had gone.
You heard the engines revving up.
It wasn't after us, but it sounds like they have gone fairly early. So now Roden's done an excellent job of getting a restart, weaving already to try and break the toe because he wants to get outside of that half a second gap, at which case he'll then have to worry about the toe less, but queuing up behind for third, fourth and fifth.
Yeah, Hugo Schwartz is going to get to the outside, the yellow and orange, trying to get past as he's trying to work his way through. He's gone out wide, so Hugo Schwartz has just exceeded track limits there at Copse. He'll probably say he was fourth. Another driver running out wide there, a little bit further down the order. They're side by side as Noah Ping's trying to get past Patrick Huysenroder as well. Look at Timothy Kuharczyk as well in the number 22 silver high-tech Pulse 8 car, trying to work its way into the mix, dragging John Bennett with him.
John Bennett is also dragging his front wing. I think John Bennett has got front wing damage. If he continues on and that is damaged, then that might be playing into the championship. There's definitely something flapping. Oh no, it's not. It's the number 3 of Noah Ping, who's a lap down.
No, Ping's still running there in fifth.
What did he do? He came in the pits then. Anyway, doesn't matter. Noah Ping's got a bit of front wing damage. Three wide going through Stowe corner between the two Vortex and another driver didn't quite catch the number of.
Yeah, indeed. There you go. You can see Noah Ping. You can see that flapping wing. You can see John Bennett. You can see the yellow car there of Waberski, Gerard Shee. Then, of course, it's Louis Sharp directly behind that, dragging alongside Nikita Johnson. There is Mackenzie Cresswell unable to make progress at the moment. It is still Arthur Rojon leading this race from Sean Rashid. But is that going to switch around anytime soon? It can be quite a difficult circuit to overtake out here at Silverstone.
Well, it can, but it's also, at the same time, kind of one of the easiest circuits because it's widest and you've got a lot of long straights. But at the same time, the average speed is very high. Lots of high and medium speed corners where you can get front-end aero wash, which can make it difficult for the drivers behind to follow. But the drivers this weekend putting on a great show, and Jared Waberski is actually pushing right onto the back of John Bennett in front. So Bennett not quite having the pace in this race that he had previously. Waberski in that yellow with blue highlighted Elite Motorsport car looking around the outside, and Bennett sliding his way through Brooklands on the limit of adhesion. It's nose to tail for pretty much all the drivers inside the top 10.
Yeah, indeed, fantastic stuff as they cross the line to complete the third lap of this final race here at Silverstone. It is still going to be Arthur Rojon leading the gap, closed in ever so slightly though. Sean Rashid sets the fastest lap of the race. Superb effort. Confirmation that Ping and Kuharczyk switched over on that lap as well. So Kuharczyk's working his way up and is the highest placed of the championship rivals as he looks to try and close back up to the championship lead. Confirmation of the fastest lap coming in from Sean Rashid. Some big moments coming through Maggots, Beckers and Chapel.
Yeah, that was Hugo Schwarzer turning into Maggots and getting a handful of oversteer. Pretty much one of the fastest corners in British motorsport is Maggots, completely flat out in a GB3 car and managing to arrest that slide with some pretty good car control skills. And we've got side-by-side action at the back. Number 21 is McIntyre looking to get past Queen, but there's also some battling further up, Lewis.
Yeah, Bennett was getting past Ping there. He looked to the outside going into Stowe. Bennett was really trying to do it, and he's done because Ping's slowing down. Ping's front wing has gone, the right-hand side of his front wing has gone, so Ping's trying to get out of the way here as he's trying to allow everyone to come through, but it's all very tricky as well. Will McIntyre trying to squeeze his way past in all of that, and will indeed do so. So Ping's dropped back. He was running in 6th position. He is going to be at the rear of the field and back in pit lane.
Yeah, Ping's realised he's got front wing damage and is trying to stay out the way as best he can. Doing quite a good job, actually. Oh, and wide goes McIntyre, so he's going to be under pressure once again from Queen, who he just got past in that previous sector.
Here's Gerard Shee then defending from Waberski. So she's got past Waberski then and up into 8th position. That was down into Stowe as well, which will actually be 7th position rather, because Ping's obviously dropped down the order. So Gerard Shee's working his way up bit by bit. A lot of clean air on the nose there of the number 11 of John Bennett, so keeping his eyes forward. But he did struggle in the previous race when it came to pace, even in clean air.
Yeah, Bennett had good pace in qualifying, and it's now McIntyre's made still holding off Colin Queen after that small mistake. So that is the move that has been completed by McIntyre. McIntyre's having a good run through the field up to 14th place from somewhere near the back, making a good progress. Oh, wide, right out to the gravel was Queen.
Yeah, I think McIntyre will gain an extra couple here as we cross the line and confirm it for you. But we'll say he gained 4 on the first lap, and then basically nothing really much since then. As we'll update the order for you. So he's now up to 12th position. Arthur Rojo continues to lead by 7/10 of a second. 4 laps complete. Sean Rashid, then Schwarzer, then Huysenroder, Kuharczyk, Bennett, Shee, Waberski, and then Louis Sharp before we get to Nikita Johnson to round out the top 10. There's Noah Ping in the pit lane.
Yeah, Noah Ping just getting front wing repair, and unfortunately not as many hands on the cars as in a Formula 1, so front wing rechange takes more than a few seconds. Who's that? Number 3. That is Noah Ping.
That is Noah Ping.
10 seconds penalty is not going to make much difference to his race at this point, unfortunately. But disappointment for Ping after showing great pace. Also 10-second penalty for number 31. Who is number 31? Oh, Ugo Chikwu. So 10-second penalties for jump starts for 2 drivers that are not really featuring in the results, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's not made much difference to the order, but the order stays at the same in the front 3 for now.
You could say they're irrelevant. Those 2 drivers that have been out, but that's fine. No, I saw that actually came over. All right, it's fine. Look, sometimes you've got to be harsh. They aren't relevant anymore in this race, unfortunately, just because of the dramas that have gone their way. Noah Ping won't be scoring any points, and Ugo Chikwu most certainly won't be. Norval, Adichie, Kulkarni, of course, the 3 of those having their big struggles in the early part of this race. No big struggles, though, for Arthur Rojon so far as we get ready to complete yet another lap. Of course, 4 down here. We've got 14 minutes to get 8 laps in. That will be tight. I believe it's possible.
Yes. Oh, we also just seeing on the live timing an unsafe release for car 12 under investigation. So that was the car that I thought was Noah Ping earlier on in the race. That is not Noah Ping. That was Irfan with the unsafe release ahead. So yeah, anyway, that's under investigation. We'll keep you posted if any penalty gets applied. And you can see the 10-second penalties being applied to the cars over the start-finish line. But the order as it stands: Rojon, Rashid, Schwarzer, Heutzen-Roeder, Kuharczyk, Bennett, Shi, Waberski, Sharp and Johnson. Sharp having a pretty solid race, staying inside the top 10. He knows he just needs consistent finishes after he had a good, strong first couple of races.
I think I just saw another 10-second time penalty be added to Marcus Lucio for out of position on the start. There's a lot of start issues in this race. I've not seen this many.
Yeah.
As they work their way back out onto the hangar straight. Gaps have certainly grown, but as the tyres start to fall off in this race, trust me, things are going to start to really, really heat up. We've completed 5 laps of the race. We do have 7. Yeah, we're definitely going to get the race distance in with 13 minutes left to go in this race, but again, you've got to look after your tyres. You've got to be ready for this final part, because remember, these tyres, they've almost certainly done a previous race. They've done a little bit in qualifying. These tyres are not brand new.
No, they're certainly not brand new. Mentioned that almost all of the drivers, in fact, I think this weekend, all of the drivers used both of their brand new sets in qualifying. 10-second penalty for car 6 out of position at the start. That is confirmation, and we just mentioned a moment ago for Lucio. But yeah, they've got 2 sets of tyres. We'll use both in qualifying for 2 or 3 flying laps, so they're almost new, but not completely. And then the drivers who are sort of 12th, 11th, 10th, 9th in qualifying will generally save a fairly decent set of tyres for this reverse grid race to try and guarantee themselves a podium. So I'm almost certain that Rashid and Rojon both had good, at least left-hand side tyres from what I can see on the grid. But the drivers who are at the front of the field, so are Bennett's, Sharps and Mackenzie Cresswell's, they will just use the best of what they've got left in this race, because they've already scored the majority of their points with good finishes in race 1 and race 2.
There's Hugo Schwartz then in podium position at the moment, but he's got a driver behind him who's finished on a couple of podiums so far in his GB3 career. That said, I think there might be a switch behind, because I do think there might have been a close one there, as Timothy Kuharczyk was close to making a move on Patrick Heutzen-Roeder. You can see the defensive line, you can see Patrick Heutzen-Roeder there over on the left-hand side as we head into turn 1. I think Kuharczyk might be making a move here for 4th position. We'll see as they work their way down the hill into Maggotts, Beckers and Chapel. Still cannot see them.
No, Kuharczyk in the grey number 22 in the back of shot, and Heutzen-Roeder in the bright blue car. Looked like Heutzen-Roeder came out ahead. No, Kuharczyk came out ahead, and now Bennett's getting alongside. So Heutzen-Roeder going backwards at the moment. Whether he's got a problem or not, we're not sure. But Heutzen-Roeder is sticking in the slipstream of the number 22 Kuharczyk, and right behind them, look who it is, Gerard Shi. Gerard Shi's going to try and get a slingshot and go past both of them. Is Heutzen-Roeder going to get freight trained here? He looks like he's hanging around the outside, although going to run wide on the exit. Yes, he is. Will still come out side by side with John Bennett. I don't think he'll be allowed to keep that position if he stays up the inside. Bennett needs to give him space. Bennett's fighting for a championship. The teammates do not want to come together, and Gerard Shi is going to try and pick up any pieces he can here, and look who's leaving large behind. That is Jared Waberski.
Yeah, whilst they are different colours, those two are teammates, the two at the foreground of shot. So it's John Bennett in the 11. It's Patrick Heutzen-Roeder trying to get to the inside, the number 10. Straight around the outside. It's a big brave move from Gerard Shi. He's going to make it stick at Abbey. Fantastic move there for the number 23 of Gerard Shi. Look at Louis Sharp onto the scene as well. Big look to the inside from Patrick Heutzen-Roeder on the brakes. Louis Sharp's going to get to the outside. He is battling for the championship as well, but battling with Heutzen-Roeder's teammate John Bennett. Oh, it's a big, big slide from the Kiwi.
How has Sharp managed to make his way past Waberski and nearly get himself past Heutzen-Roeder? I didn't even see how he got there, so it must have gone around the outside when everyone was checking up on the inside, but somehow Heutzen-Roeder has stemmed the flow of positions he's losing, and now we've got the two yellow Elite Motorsport cars going side by side in the background of Waberski, and Mackenzie Cresswell will keep you informed as to who comes out on top of that one as we follow Kuharczyk, who's clear. So still side by side are the two yellow Elite Motorsport cars. It is Weberski that's held off his teammate Cresswell. Cresswell, of course, took the race win in race number 2.
Yeah, of course, Kuharczyk there, confirmation he's moved up to the 4th position. I will update you with the points after this race. A little bit more complicated because the positions gained and all that but I'll update you with that. Side by side between the two elites then towards the back end of the top 10, as you rightly informed, it was Weberski and Mackenzie Cresswell, who struggled to make progress so far, has Mackenzie Cresswell. He's trying to get himself inside the top 10, is inside the top 10, and look who's knocking at the door. Will McIntyre's been able to close his way back in. Could be an extra few positions and some very vital points for Will McIntyre.
Yeah, McIntyre's had a great race, working his way up, trying to get inside the top 10. He's in 12th place at the moment, looking to on around the outside to get 11th off Weberski. Can he get it? He's ahead at the apex. That's going to put him in a great position on the exit. Gets it done. What a move, Will McIntyre.
That was incredible. That was very, very impressive from Will McIntyre. Just using the momentum, he's been closing up to the rear end of this group, and rather than holding station and being like, I'll wait for the right move, he's just absolutely gone for it. Brilliant stuff from Will McIntyre to move up to 11th position. Next one up for him is Mackenzie Cresswell, and those two are battling for 5th in the championship, or at least for 4th rather in the championship. They're in 4th and 5th. They're the furthest out from the championship lead. They could be realistically dropping out of contention, but they're embroiled in their own fight.
Yes, they are. I mean, I must say, that move around the outside of Stowe from Will McIntyre. Oh, as he looked up the inside into the loop, that's a late manoeuvre, and luckily Cresswell was there to just about cover it off, but I was just about to say that was a textbook outside overtake from Will McIntyre there. It's so important to get ahead at the apex, because if you get fall behind at the apex, you're then relying on the driver ahead to give you spaces. Out around the outside of Brooklands goes Sharp on Hoytsenroder. Sharp holding around the outside. He's got the inside for Luffield now, moving up one more position. So Sharp having a brilliant race, quietly just getting on with things and picking off people one by one.
Honestly, it is really, really good for Louis Sharp. He'll be losing a little bit of ground in the championship, courtesy where Kuharczyk and Bennett are, but this will make things a little bit easier. They work their way on the start-finish straight once more down towards Copse, and it will be Louis Sharp confirming his way up into that position, into 7th spot. So, I mean, I say it's super brave. Next one that he has to pass, though, is Gerard Sheen. I don't think he's going to exactly jump out of the way for it.
No, Gerard Sheen's also had some excellent pace in this race, although saying that, Kuharczyk also is the fastest man on circuit. It was the fastest that last time by. Yeah, but Sharp and She, you know, they've been close on circuit this time before, and She's been quick. But Sharp will be glad to have a bit of clear air in front of them actually now. But Hoytsenroder's had a busy race, and now he's got his ring mirrors full of the number 17 of, oh my goodness, round the outside once again goes McIntyre around Stowe. That's a textbook move from him. He was a good user of the outside line at turn 3, wasn't he, at Zandvoort?
Yeah.
And is it Spa where he went outside? There was one of the previous races, he went around the outside 2 or 3 times in a race, and he's using the outside line once again, this time at Stowe, to move up 2 positions on both of the Elite Motorsport drivers of Mackenzie Cresswell and Gerard Weberski.
Top 3 in the championship, by the way, if they finish as they are currently running with a few laps left to go in this race, 3 at the line, would be Louis Sharp would be leading by a slightly diminished championship lead. It would be 7 points he'd lead the championship by Timothée Kuharczyk, 16 points behind. I get a feeling Kuharczyk still might have a little bit more pace. He set the fastest lap of the race. He's closing up to the rear end of Hugo Schwarzer. I think he's got a little bit more to say in this race. I don't believe Bennett can gain anything more. I think Sharp is also maybe a little bit too far behind Gerard Shee to maybe gain anything. So I think Kuharczyk's the only real one in the top group that can actually gain anything.
Yeah, I'm glad that we've cut to Kuharczyk, because I'm just keeping an eye on his sector times. He went purple last time out. He's just gone to purple sector 3, almost 3 tenths faster than every other car around him, and he's closed that gap to Schwarzer by at least half a second. So yes, I think you're right, Lewis. He's going to be the one applying the pressure to that man right there, number 22, in our championship battle. Hugo Schwarzer is the yellow car ahead of him, the number 33. Schwartz's had a brilliant race. He would love to keep his podium position, but we know that Timothée Kuharczyk, one of the fastest drivers in the championship for sure, with his amazing run of front row qualifications in the previous few rounds, and also we know that he's absolutely not shy of trying for an overtake.
Yeah, I mean, look, Timothée Kuharczyk desperately wants to score some more points in it, but he has to weigh up the point as to whether grabbing the podium is really worth it. Does he actually want to talk to Jon Jackson once more? I certainly wouldn't. But either way, he's sat there in 4th position, closing up to the rear end of Hugo Schwarzer, desperate for his podium. Of course, I jest. It's not about Jon Jackson. He just wants the points.
Yes, he also...
the punishment fits the crime.
Exactly. Of course, also Kuharczyk is no longer in the lead of the championship. thanks to that optimistic move he made on Mackenzie Cresswell in race 1, and he doesn't want to make another optimistic move that doesn't come off and hamper and hobble himself in the championship fight once again. So I think he'll maybe be having a word with himself, or maybe the team will have a word with him and say, look, fourth's enough. It's a reverse grid race. You've had a solid weekend of points, still in the championship hunt. If the move's on, go for it, but don't force the issue unless the door is wide open, because fourth place, still a great result. We've got another penalty, 5-second penalty for car number 31 for exceeding track limits. 31.
Ugo Chukwu,
again, an irrelevant penalty at this stage, because I think he's got a bit of space in front and behind him. So unfortunate, Ugo Chukwu, of course, had contact earlier on in the race on the first lap, and
he's 21st.
Yeah, although actually he is going to lose a place because he is only 1.5 seconds ahead of Noah Ping.
Yeah, but he is in 21st position where there's no points, so we'll move on. As our race leader Arthur Rojon continues round the circuit, not long left to go in this one. Time I've got 4 minutes and 15 seconds. We've got plenty of time to do the last 2 laps of this race. He's 2.5 seconds clear of Sean Rashid, who's had an excellent weekend, fair enough. It'll be great to see him on the podium. There is the updated race control message to what you were saying about track limits for car 31. That is Ugo Chukwu and a 5-second time penalty. There is Hugo Schwarzer still driving really, really well. The only problem is, for him, if Sean Rashid falters here and slows down slightly, that's actually going to hurt Hugo more than it'll help him.
Yeah, at this stage, Hugo would like some clear air in front of him so he can place his car exactly where he wants without any dirt or without too much dirty air interference. But as they slightly catch to the back of Sean Rashid, Hugo Schwarzer will just have a little bit less front grip in the high-speed corners, but the gap at the moment just big enough that I don't think it's going to be a factor. So all that Hugo Schwarzer needs to do in this situation is hit his marks, brake in the right place, make his apexes, get solid exits, and it's unlikely that Timek Kuharczyk is going to be able to make a move.
Sounds easy.
It sounds easy, Lewis, but when you've got the pressure of the championship leader and one of the fastest drivers in the championship right behind you, easier said than done.
Indeed. Look, if you're able to win a race, I'm sure Hugo Schwarzer can get a podium. It's fine. It must be really difficult though around a circuit like this to hit your marks. It's so wide and so open to be able to hit it on a consistent basis. Because I feel that at Alton Park, as much as it's narrow, you've got so much reference, whereas here, it's so wide. Do you lose a lot of reference around it?
You can do, yeah. There's a lot less reference points. So, for example, into this corner here, actually, Hugo Schwarzer feeling the need to go defensive for the first time and looking up the inside. Goes Timek Kuharczyk. I think that was just a feint. I don't think he was actually sending it up the inside. He was just looking to try and force an issue. That's number 6. We're just getting more issue. Number 6, another 5-second penalty for Marcus Lizio for track limits. Again, a fairly irrelevant penalty to the points situation in this race, unfortunately. But Hugo Schwarzer now feeling the pressure from Kuharczyk. This is our race leader, Rojon, who's pulling away at the front of the field.
Last lap of the race coming in from Arthur Rojon as he leads by nearly 3 seconds. Desperate for his first podium, his first victory in GB3. Of course, he did join us back in the previous year. I remember him starting out with quite an impressive performance. He went up 7 positions in his first ever race. I think it was pretty much the first couple of laps at Alton Park in 2023. But then we haven't really seen that out of him too much. He was even so scared that he showed up at Zandvoort in a Germany t-shirt for some reason.
Even though he's a Frenchman.
And neither team won the Euro, so it's fine.
Yeah, great drive so far from Rojon, just got the job done. But we're not done with this battle for the remaining podium places. Actually, it looks like Rashid has just dropped back a little bit, just under a second ahead of Schwarzer now. So if any of those two make a mistake, then Kuharczyk and Schwarzer will be looking to make any last lap overtakes, if they can. But again, once they've got in this position, the drivers on the podium won't want to throw that away, and Kuharczyk won't want to throw away the points for 4th place, which would see him, I imagine, Lewis, jump into the lead of the championship. We're not going to confirm that. That's just mental maths from myself. Would he jump into the lead of the championship? It would be close, wouldn't it?
No, it'd be very close, of course. Arthur Rojon then working his way round. Of course, we have seen him do the one victory before. It was obviously at Hungaroring. But this time we'll see him return to the top step in pretty impressive fashion. He's had a great weekend so far of racing. He works his way down into Brooklands. I will correct myself, he did win before. I was not trusting my stat sheet, it's fine. As he heads down into Brooklands, into the final complex of corners. It's been a very, very impressive performance from Arthur Rojon, who will take victory for the 2nd time this season and just keep rolling through. It's been an impressive performance from it. Arthur Rojon will be out on top. Sean Rashid will join him on the podium as well as Hugo Schwarzer, who will come across the line in 3rd spot. Excellent drive from Arthur Rojon to win for the 2nd time.
Brilliant drive, did everything right, got away at the start, got in the lead, and then managed the safety car well, pulled the gap out. But also, Jon Jackson will be very happy with a second place, his first podium. His best result up to date would be 6th. So taking a podium, he'll be very happy with that, and I'm sure we'll see that on his documentary, Sean to F1, very soon, which is on YouTube. If you Google Jon Jackson, I'm sure you'll find it on YouTube. But and then 3rd place, Timothy Kuharczyk got 3rd place.
Yeah, Timothy Kuharczyk's up to 3rd.
We missed that. We didn't see. It must have been a mistake into the final sector from Schwarzer, or potentially Kuharczyk going on the inside. We didn't quite catch that on the cameras, so Kuharczyk did actually manage to get a podium, which will help with an extra point and the bonus points for the position as well.
Indeed, and I, of course, will update you with the championship standings, don't you worry. But, of course, they'll work their way round into Parc Fermé, where they'll be interviewed by Jon Jackson. And, of course, he gets to interview Jon Jackson for the very first time, and Timothy Kuharczyk, who will close up. Not going to give him the championship lead, that's for sure, but will just mean that things get even closer in the championship, which is exactly what we want. Before that change happened, there were 16 points between the top 3, so change that around a couple of times.
Yeah, let me think about it. Yeah, it's going to be just behind, isn't he? I think Sharp will still be championship leader, but it is going to be very close. Oh, look at this formation flying from the Roden team. Sharp giving a big thumbs up to his teammate Arthur Roge, and they get on pretty well. It seems like a pretty good atmosphere inside the Roden team. We spoke to Jimmy Goodwin, Louis' race engineer, just before the race. You may have seen that, helping Sharp out, but also the very team atmosphere. They all help each other out there, and great job from the whole Roden team. They've had a strong weekend this weekend. Both Sharp with 2 solid results in race 1 and race 2, and then also a race win in number 3, the ones we've just seen. Yeah, I mean, Lewis, that was predictably pretty crazy. There was a lot going on, especially in the first couple of laps. Drivers going up and down the field. I'd say standout drives in that one. Of course, Rojon for the race win. Kuharczyk made quite a few places, but also Will McIntyre getting inside the top 10 from pretty much the back of the grid is also a damage limitation for him after what was a very, very difficult qualifying. And you know, I'm sure he would have taken a bit in your hand off for a top 10 in this race.
It's been a tough weekend for Will McIntyre, mostly because of that qualifying. But the fact that he still worked his way into those positions, it's been an impressive performance from him to at least not have lost too much of the champion. At least have the top 3 points for you, by the way. Louis Sharp should be, I will redo this, don't worry. Louis Sharp should be on 336. John Bennett should be on 329, so 7 points between the two of those. And Timothy Kuharczyk on 323, just 13 points. Between the top 3 in the championship, with 6 races left to go. 1/4 of the season left, Piers.
1/4, and we've only got 13 points, which is half a race win. Less than. More than.
Well, less than. It's
less
35
than.
points for a race victory.
Yes.
You're thinking of Formula 1 points here, mate.
No, I'm not. It's okay. I know the point system. 35 for a race win in a race 1 and race 2. 20 for a reverse good race. And 21 points for this man right here.
Yeah, indeed. A superb performance from Arthur Rojon, who doesn't seem particularly miffed by it as he climbs out of the car. I'm sure that will change around as soon as he catches up with the team, catches up with the family, and catches up with Jon Jackson as well. Jon Jackson out of the car. Get to chat to him for the first time as a podium finisher in GB3, adding to the large list of podium finishers that we've had in GB3. Of course, there is Arthur Rojon. And again, superb performance. And Timothy Kuharczyk, absolutely no idea how he was able to sneak his way through to grab 3rd position, but he was on the podium nonetheless. You can see him in the background there, closing up to the championship lead after the retirement in race 1. Let's head down though to Jon Jackson to catch up with the podium finishers.
Yeah, I'm down here right now. I will ask Timothy Kuharczyk what happened there. Actually, so confusing here that some of the elite social media team were actually ready for Hugo Schwarzer, and obviously confused when he didn't come in 3rd. So I don't think they even realised it. Must have been quite late on. Let's let Arthur put his hat on, and we say, très bien. How was that for you? Your 2nd race win of the year?
Good race.
I'll hold it for you. You've done enough work.
Thank you. Yeah, good race. Good result for the team. It's a good race 3 because the race 1 and 2 were a bit harder for me. So yeah, really happy to get again the top spot of the podium.
It must be pretty cool to do it here at Silverstone as well. Such an iconic track.
Yeah, it's a nice track. It's a F1 track. It's really fast, and yeah, loved it.
Perfect. We had a lot of success for the Roden family today, so congratulations, and we'll let you continue celebrating with your team.
Yeah, thank you.
There we go, Arthur Rejon, absolutely not impressed by my French in the slightest. Let's go and speak to Sean Rashid. Sean Rashid's best finish, as you can imagine, getting a load of photos here, really celebrating with the team. I'm sure he's going to be over the moon when we chat to him in just a second with the VRD Racing by Arden team. Just going to let him take my photos. Sean, congratulations. That's your first podium that's your first podium ever, isn't it?
Yeah, first podium in GB3. It's been a long time coming. I know it's reverse grid, but still.
Hey, it still counts.
Yeah, 100%. It's just, man, so many ups and downs in this sport, and sometimes you're just like, when is it ever going to work out? And like yesterday I had DNF and it was like low, and then today is high. It's just how the sport goes, but I'm super happy. Big thanks to my team, BRD by Arden. The car was wicked, super fast all weekend actually, so yeah, I couldn't be happier.
Your YouTube video is going to be pretty cool this week.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, everyone tune in because this will be a cool episode.
Okay, just remind people what it's called and where they can find it.
Yeah, it's called Sean F1, so you'll find it on YouTube.
Excellent stuff. Sean, congratulations. We'll let you go and celebrate with the team. We'll see you on the podium.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
There we go. Sean Rashid doing incredibly well, as I say, his best finish there. Let's find Timothy Kaharczyk. Oh, he's speaking with the track commentator, right? Which is always a bit tricky because I'm not really allowed to dive in. Richard Randall's watching over, right? So he'll be putting some pressure on in the background. He'll be giving him the eyes. But yeah, good result for Timothy there. As I say, it was very confusing with the Elite Motorsport social media team literally in position for the third place there, ready to film him coming in. And the look on their face when it wasn't Hugo Schwarzer, they were very confused. They were dumbfounded. So yeah, we're going to find out in just a second. We've got Polish fans behind. Here we go. Timek, congratulations. We'll let you celebrate with Sean there. Timek, we'll let you continue celebrating. Don't worry, it's not about me. We've got Polish flags behind you, which is really cool. Loads of people watching back at home. You've got a huge following. Before we celebrate your following, can you just tell us what happened there? Because even the Elite Motorsports team were expecting a third place finish for Hugo, but obviously you got that third place right at the end.
Yeah, I think Hugo just went a bit too wide on exit of T11 or 12, whatever is it. And yeah, slight mistake, for him. And then yeah, the curb just sucked him out of the track, so it just took advantage of that. But on my side, really good race, really happy to show finally some decent pace this weekend, as we will be struggling with the car quite a lot. With the positions in quali, it didn't make it really easy for the races. But yeah, happy to get away from the podium, scored some decent amount of points for the championship, which is the most important thing.
Yeah, great drive. Do you want to say anything to the Polish fans watching in Polish?
Yeah, bardzo dziękuję za całe wsparcie. Naprawdę to, ilu was tutaj było dzisiaj, jest naprawdę miłe i zrobiło mi się naprawdę ciepło, więc bardzo dziękuję i postaram się nie zawieść.
Timek, congratulations, cześć.
Thank you.
There we go, Timothy Kaharczyk finishing third there with High-Tech Pulse 8. A little explanation as to what happened there. We'll hopefully catch up with Hugo Schwarzer in just a second, but first of all, we'll watch the final podium of the week.
Jon Jackson, fluent in Polish and French, but not English though, it's fine. As we'll see them heading out onto the podium again. Kaharczyk with that position again, and I will confirm, at least I've redone the maths. Louis Sharp 336, John Bennett 329, Timothy Kaharczyk 323. The top five are now separated by 61 points, so Mackenzie Cresswell losing out a little bit of ground there in the championship. But it still is what it is. The top five is still relatively close. Obviously, we'll get ready for them to return to the podium for Timothy Kaharczyk. It is yet another podium this season. Again, after the big dramas of the first race this weekend, where he's certainly put that one to an end after what has been a solid couple of races. I mean, the fact that he was able to work his way through into a podium position. Very impressive for him. Obviously, he finished the last race in 5th, this race in 3rd, so it's good to see him back onto the podium. The drivers will be coming up onto those steps. It'll be Kaharczyk first, then Sean Rashid, who again caps off the absolute best weekend of his career, realistically, in GB3. It's not often you grab a podium, but it's a superb performance from them. Here they finally come, hopefully, as they'll venture out onto the podium. Kaharczyk closing in on the championship. Of course, he did come into it as arguably the favourite of the championship, the one that was looking the strongest. But of course, the retirement in race 1 this weekend has really put him on the back foot, but he's responded very, very well and had great mentality as well. Catching up with the interview, I mean, you've heard it a little bit earlier on in the weekend. The interview from him, very, very solid mentality from him. As we'll see Sean Rashid then into second position, of course, onto the podium, and then onto the top step. For the second time this season is Arthur Rosen. Of course, he won the reverse grid race back at the Hungaroring, and back out onto the top step of the podium here at Silverstone as well. 6 races left to go. You've got to say, of the 3 drivers on the podium here, the likelihood is there probably going to be a few more victories, at least for that man on the left, you'd have to say. Timo Kuharczyk surely is not done winning in 2024, and realistically, if he wants to go and get the championship, you'd have to expect that he needs at least 1 victory just to manage to beat out the likes of Louis Sharp or John Bennett. I do feel it is looking like it's a little bit more of a 3-horse race, as of course we'll get the Sunoco fastest lap of the weekend award for Mackenzie Cresswell, who looks he looks okay. It looks like it's been a very meh performance this race for him, but it's been a superb performance for him this weekend. A victory for him, of course, in the race earlier on in the day. Second place in the race a little bit earlier on in the weekend as well. Or it was 7th place rather, before he got the managed to grab himself a victory. A little bit of a mediocre performance from him in this one. Of course, the drivers will have their photographs taken. They'll depart the podium and head their way back out. Of course, we'll take a look at the provisional results from this race and see exactly how things are lined up. Of course, it was Arthur Rosen who took the victory. Provisional, of course, but race control, I'm sure, will tick that one off, as I don't think he really did anything wrong there. Sean Rashid in second position, Kuharczyk there in third. Of course, we didn't catch the late drama there between Kuharczyk and Schwartz. So John Bennett there in 5th position, with Gerard Sheet in 6th. Of course, we've got Louis Sharp, Patrick Huizenrode in 7th and 8th position. Maybe not super impressive from Louis Sharp, considering the progress being made from Kuharczyk and Bennett, but still 7th place is a very solid result from him after starting from 11th. Nikita Johnson and Will McIntyre made up an excellent amount of positions. 8 positions made up for Will Mack. Mackenzie Cresswell just up the single position with Jared Wilberski into 12th. Colin Queen in 13th with Sebastian Murray in 14th. James Wharton, of course, Douglas, Jax there before we get to Irfan, Pearson and Lucio rounding out the top 20. Ugo Chikwu had some drama earlier on in the race before getting sent over the gravel trap before we get Noah Ping and Aditya Kulkarni. Ping a lap down, Kulkarni out of the race, and the drama that does in the championship, of course, it does mean that things are close in the top grouping. Provisional standings, of course. I'm not smart enough to do all the maths myself, but Louis Sharp is leading the championship at the moment for Roden Motorsports. 336 points to his name. John Bennett there in second position on 329, and Timo Kuharczyk, of course, in third position on 323. That means that 13 points separate the top 3. 46 points off the championship lead is Will McIntyre. 61 points off the championship lead is Mackenzie Cresswell. Still maintains really those 5, although I'm now feeling like Will McIntyre and Mackenzie Cresswell, they need an unbelievable weekend at Donington Park, obviously in a fair while's time. Jared Wilberski there in 6th position, having a solid season with Gerard Shee. Ugo Chikwu, who was looking to take over the position from Shee, of course, in this race and his return to the championship, and a little bit of a meh in that round, and going through the gravel trap, dropping down to 8th position, also staying in 8th position after dropping down a little bit earlier on in the weekend. Hugo Schwarzer in 9th. Could well have done with the extra points there for grabbing in third position rather, as Arthur Rosen will grab his first podium and move inside the top 10 for Roden, showing how impressive that performance has been from him, taking over that position from Patrick Huizenrode, who's 8 positions off being inside the top 10 positions of the championship, which is obviously where you really, really want to be if you're in your first full season or so. That's where you're aiming for. We'll head down though to Piers, who's down in pit lane.
We're down here with Louis Sharp, championship leader still, just about. Louis, that looked like a good race from yourself. It was a lot of battling going on, and then all of a sudden you got ahead of it. So yeah, you placed your car well in that one.
Yeah, I think so. It was a good race. I think we finished P7, I don't actually know, to be fair. But from P11, good few positions made. It was a little bit tricky. We tried something a little bit different with the car setup. We thought, reverse grid race, we've got nothing to lose. We might as well try something to see if we can make up positions. It was pretty tricky when we were in traffic, but as soon as I got some clear air, it was actually not so bad. The pace was fairly strong, but that first half of the race, being behind cars, we were struggling a lot. So no, I think it was quite good. I was able to get some clear air. Otherwise, I was probably at risk from getting overtaken. But no, overall, it's been a really good weekend. obviously we were quite disappointed after Zandvoort, after race 2 with the DNF to lose the championship lead. So I think to come back and bounce back here with 2 podiums and regain it, we're pretty happy.
Yeah, very happy. Can you give us a bit more about what you changed on the car? Is it like aero, tyres? What, you know, give the people at home something.
Yeah, just slightly different aero balance. We were struggling a little bit in the straights. We made a change to try help with that, but yeah, I think when we were following cars, we just lost a lot of downforce because of it. So I think it probably could have worked if we were starting off the front, but I think for these particular conditions and this particular situation we were in this race, maybe it didn't quite work, but who knows, I think it's something we have to revisit again in the future.
You must be happy going into only 2 more rounds to go, 6 races. Small, slim lead, 16 points between the top 3 now. You must be happy to be at the front of that though.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely happy to be at the front. Obviously, there's probably 4 or 5 of us that can still win. It can go anyway, and we've seen it's changing round by round who's in the lead and who's looking strong. So you know, there's so much that can happen when it's this close. But I really like Donington. I really like Brands. The next 2 rounds coming up. So I was strong there in F4 last year. So yeah, hopefully we can repeat the success we had the previous years this year coming up. But no, yeah, in a good position. Really thankful for the team and really thankful for it all. To be fair,
Lewis, we'll see you at Donington. I'll let you go and celebrate what is a solid weekend with your team. We'll bring in Will McIntyre once again. Will, we caught up with you after the second race after some good moves. Yeah. Same again in that one. 2 tasty moves around the outside of both elite cars. You pretty much did the same move twice on both cars.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I just been a story of the weekend, really, just been overtaking and doing the best I can. Obviously, the pace still is not the greatest, but I'm doing what I do best and basically just hack it through.
Hack it through, indeed you did. Made up quite a few places, got inside the top 10 actually, which is a pretty good result from you. I suppose you view this weekend as like a damage limitation?
Yeah, exactly. I think from straight after quali, it was just okay. Well, I've got nothing else to lose, really. I mean, and genuinely in race 2, I couldn't have gone backwards. So, yeah, I had to just do the best I possibly could. And you know, when I saw Cresswell in front of me, I just knew I had to overtake him because it's the best I could do. And you know, I didn't really want to drop down to 5th in a championship, knowing I started the weekend 2 points behind the championship leader.
Still mathematically in with a chance of the championship, a little bit further back after what has been a difficult weekend. What's your outlook going into the final 2 rounds?
Well, yeah, obviously I know there's like 35 points for a race win, so you know, anything can happen, and the way it's been going, you know, I can still win the championship. So Donington and Brands have been 2 of my strongest tracks in testing, so hopefully the downward spiral starts to go upwards again.
Brilliant. Will, we'll let you go and cool off after what was a tricky race for yourself, making your way up through the field into the top 10. A great drive there.
Walk with me.
Walking.
Walk with me. Where's he gone? Oh, he's just gone. Louis Sharp's dad, Jason Sharp. I was trying to get a chant going there with him, Louis Sharp, 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 but he wasn't up for it. I don't think the British New Zealand banter like translates so much. Like there we go. Okay. There we go. We were trying to chat to Hugo Schwarzer, deep in conversation with the team at the moment. I mean, as I say, you know, the team were expecting him. In fact, the team in the garage were like, is he not on the podium? Before he came around the corner, and it was like, yeah. So we heard from Timek there, you know, a mistake right at the end there, which you know gave Timek the advantage. Great drive from Timek, and you know, great weekend of racing here again with Louis Sharp, the championship leader. Points is a little bit less, but 2 rounds to go. We've got Donington Park, and we've also got Brands Hatch coming up as well. A little break in between then, a little summer break. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. So there we go. First weekend of September is the next round at Donington Park. 3 more races left there, and 3 more races at Brands Hatch. So 6 races left in the GB3 Championship this year. Very, very close at the top. We hope you enjoyed everything you've seen this weekend. Watch the social media clips. We'll have the highlights up there very, very soon. You can also read Randy's race report from all 3 races on the GB3 website. We'll be back in about 45 minutes time. If you fancy some reverse grid GB4 action, we'll see you later.